Okay, the second question is what's the meaning of meaning? Now that has been debated in philosophy, right? What's the meaning of meaning? Right? I just wrote a paper to debate with Baumeister about what the meaning of meaning. Yeah, Baumeister is a big name in social psychology. Now, let's forget about semantics, okay? Because I practice meaning therapy, but often with my client, I do not mention the word meaning. I mention the things that will make what they need to make life meaningful. But I don't have to mention meaning, okay? Here are 4 things to make life meaningful: purpose, understanding, responsibility, and enjoyment. Okay, that's Frankl. Here's my hero. Okay, a meaningful life is self-transcendent life. Self-transcendent. Transcend yourself. Okay, transcend it. That, whether in India or in China, in ancient China, everywhere, in all culture, for life to be deeper and more meaningful, you have to transcend the world, transcend yourself, transcend. Okay? Now here's the picture. This is 2-dimensional living, success and failure. Are you successful or are you a failure? People are fighting among themselves for success. But even when they're successful, they still live a shallow life, right? We did talk about earlier, right? The decadence. Because there's nothing deep about that. It's all this skin deep. Eating, drinking, playing, and sexing, having sex, okay? Having sex, eating food, good food, and play. It's shallow, right? It's shallow life. Even as a successful, live a shallow life, okay? But this way, transcend the self. Once you're able to transcend yourself, go vertical, that's where meaning began. Transcend. Reorient your life away from self and the world towards something higher, the highest good. The highest good. The greater good, the highest ideal, beauty, truth, and love embodied in what we call God. You don't have a God, you have to create a God. Cultural anthropology has proven that. Psychology has proven that. To survive and to thrive, you have to act as if God exists. You switch towards the highest good and sacrifice to get there. Then you're successful, you have an ideal life. If you're not successful, you still have a meaningful life, so you're not going to lose, right? You bet on meaning, self-transcendence, you cannot lose. But you're fighting for success in the world. Even if you succeed, you still live a shallow life. You fail, you waste your life. So you're able to lose. So the challenge of living a meaningful life is to rearrange yourself to the highest good, to the common good, to the highest purpose, to the common good. Okay, the 4th thing you need, okay? One need to understand the reason for your suffering. That is the basic. Evolution has selected this way. Whenever you suffer or whatever, you ask why. Why am I so painful? Why me? Why so unfair? Why other people are rich, I'm poor? What bad thing happened to me? You need to understand. Because why? Because to understand is the job of a scientist, right? What causes pain? A doctor is a doctor. What causes pain? Find out. Scientist, right? So not emotional, it's intellectual. Philosophy. What the reason and purpose for the pain? Theology, philosophy, right? What the purpose for this? What function does it serve? The pain is still the function of warning you something wrong with you. That's the purpose. That's not only medicine, but also philosophy, right? Theology, everything has a purpose. Intellectual, right? To understand the cause and reason for suffering is not emotion. It's the highest level of intellect. Most scientific discovery, most of the philosophical insight is to answer the question, why we suffer and die? How to prevent suffering? The second, one's purpose to dream a better world. Every child dreams of being a fireman, being a policeman, or Superman, or what other superhero? A Spider-Man. Every kid dreams of something. So that's again evolution's gift that our forebrain is so developed that we can anticipate and imagine. Remember John Lennon said, imagine a world peace, remember the song? Imagine. Even imagine a better world. Then we can figure out how to get there, right? To imagine a world of peace, people all get along with each other. To imagine a world where 1% doesn't have all the wealth, the money shared with the people. That's supposed to be the dream of socialism. But end up all the money in the hands of the power leaders. But if I have a dream, if I'm old man, I still have a dream. That immunotherapy will be widely accepted worldwide. So that people will choose to live a meaningful life. I still have a dream. Dream is a purpose, motivational, future-oriented, okay? The number 3. Everybody needs to have a sense of responsibility for yourself and for the group. My friend David Beckham wrote a very powerful book called Duality of Human Nature, Agency and Community. 好像我 teaching at Europe, Europe here. I teaching at Europe with him. We talk all the time and talk about philosophical, psychological issues. Agency means you are both an instrumental and ethical agent. You are accountable for your behavior, for your words. Agency. Secondly, you're also responsible for the group, to your family. If you don't do your part, your family suffer. Do you know that? You don't do your part, your family suffer, other society suffer. So we have both a sense of agency and community. Both require a sense of responsibility, right? We are accountable for our behavior, for our work. We're accountable to someone beyond us. You're accountable to society, you're accountable to God, you're accountable to your family for how you spend your life. Somebody. If you do all those 3 things, now you find happiness. Happiness comes as a byproduct of living a meaningful life. Then you have a sense of significance. I used to be nobody, now I'm somebody. I used to find life boring, now my life has significance. Now my life matter. So that's happiness, right? So the consensus in psychology now is that don't seek happiness, don't pursue happiness, but pursue meaning. But you pursue meaning, then true happiness will come through the back door. You pursue happiness, you think that money, power will make you happy. Eventually, you'll be disillusioned. You'll find boredom. So that is 4 things, right? Did you understand what life is all about? You need to have purpose. You have some interest for the greater good. You know some ability for your life, for your well-being. Don't blame your parents for your happiness. Don't blame society for your failure. It's easy to blame society for your failure. Oh, society is not fair. Yeah, society is not fair. I'm an immigrant. I know society is not fair. I fight against discrimination all my life. Okay? But I'm still able to achieve my goal. You do all 3 things, then you will have a sense of joy. Here come to the end for today. Why meaning is a natural gift to healing and flourishing. Meaning has 3 functions. Meaning purpose is future-oriented. Growth function. Growth function. You're stretching. You're making sacrifice towards the highest good. As long as you're striving, your brain is healthy. You stop striving, your brain begins to die, and you begin to die. Striving is hard, but get somewhere. Not striving is dead. Sitting there, not striving, you're dead. You're just dead. You don't want to get out of bed, you're dead. But striving towards goal is hard. But that is the way you expand your life. That's the way you grow. Okay? Now, you also have a protective function. If you feel painful, if you're bored with life, that means you suffer from a deficiency in meaning. There's something wrong in your life. There's something missing in your life. Maybe a relationship, maybe a life goal, maybe a life purpose, maybe you're too selfish. So you will feel life you feel life is boring, life is painful. That's a signal for you to change. Your pain is your awakening. Your pain is something that makes you awake you. Your pain is a trigger for change. So your pain is a blessing in disguise. If you feel like so painful, people treat you so unfairly, that will trigger you to make some changes, right? Finally, the last function is resilience function, the reason for your suffering. If you find a reason for your suffering, then you find your reason for living. So find a reason for your suffering is very important. Remember, earlier, the suicide thing, but they don't know why they suffer. You have no reason for suffer, then the logical conclusion is that you kill yourself. But if you know your reason for suffering, then you move forward. You with the pain, okay? So Japan doesn't have a word of meaning. Okay? They have called akiko, which consists of 2 words. Mean reason for being, or reason for living. If you have reason for living, reason for suffering, then everything falls in place. I keep my promise. I'm done. Thank you for attention.